Please welcome to our program. She is the executive producer of the growthop.com, Megan Henderson, and the I like to say the executive marketing vice president from Strainprint, Jessica Moran. Megan and Jessica. All right, here. Megan and Jessica. Hello, Megan.
Good morning.
Were you warned?
I was not warned, but I have listened to you guys before, so I know what to expect.
So you know this is just a nonsense parade.
I love nonsense.
Yeah. Jessica, hello.
Hi.
It's been Jessica has been a friend and a client and a colleague now for this is our second year. I don't know how long has it been on?
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime.
But so many things have happened.
So many things.
Strainprint, amazing. I've had a chance to get to know the guys and to get to know you. And you're here, of course. Cannabis is like, I guess, the spring kickoff of the cannabis industry. But let's talk a little bit about the Growth Op. What is that, Megan?
So the Growth Op is Postmedia's cannabis editorial website. So we focus on all things cannabis, and we really are looking to give folks the tools they need to understand how they can use cannabis in their life, educate them on consumption, and try and give them insight into how this works into their health and wellness needs. What's the latest research. We also focus on the news and business side of it. So if you're interested in investing or you want to understand like the players in the game, we're covering all that on the Growth Op.
So it's interesting you say Post Media, the National Post, and that, and Jessica, no surprise that this is now getting covered like any other industry, but you've been involved in the industry for a long time. Isn't it interesting to see it all kind of grow up? No pun intended.
Absolutely. I brought Megan on because a great example of that. When we first started out, certainly nothing like the Growth Op existed. And in fact, we had a really hard time getting any kind of coverage, especially paid. And so publications like the Growth Op, who kind of just legitimize cannabis and are telling the real true stories instead of sensationalizing it. You see a lot of headlines in the mainstream still that are frustrating, where it talks about this person overdosed or this kid took their parents' edibles to school. And yes, that happens. Yes, it's important to cover, but it's not always balanced because we work and breathe the industry and we see these fantastic stories every day. And often the mainstream media, unfortunately, still isn't willing to cover them. So again, folks like the Growth Op and the National Post who've invested in that, it's such a smart thing, and it helps us to bring that conversation forward.
Yeah, I'd say.
Growthop.com, obviously that's a website. Does this information find its way into the actual newspapers as well, or is this a part of...
Yeah, we work with our friends at the National Post because we're a part of the big Post Media family. So we have a monthly print insert that goes out to subscribers across the country in 16 major markets, and that's called the Cannabis Post, and it features different themes every month around cannabis. So the most recent April version just went out on Tuesday, actually, and that was based on tourism. So we're really talking about, we talked about a really great chef who's now based in Toronto who's doing infused meals. We're talking about, bed and breakfast that are offering 420 friendly services to folks. So really trying to open people's minds to what's available.
And that is great because we've often talked about, probably even a little older demographic that's never used cannabis, still thinking it's sort of out there. But when you see it in this form, it's like, wow.
Well, as you say, it's kind of legitimate
for grown-ups.
Yeah, and it legitimizes it away from just a bunch of people, rolling joints and getting high. There's Jessica, we've had so many conversations about the multifacets of the industry, but it's interesting that you at growthop.com are giving people kind of a guide to get the sort of mainstream consumer up to speed where the rest of us are sort of already.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at great publications like Leafly.com and some of the other ones out there, I think, the challenge is that they're very young in terms of their audience. But when we talk about folks that are, 45, 55, 65 plus, they're already readers of the National Post or the Financial Post, and that's where they're going for their news. So this is a natural evolution for them to say, hey, you guys are a trusted journalism branch that I can speak with.
Well, and that age group is already, those of us in that age group, 55, 65, we've been around the weed our whole lives, and we're the ones that are going to benefit, I think, from a lot of the other aspects of cannabis beyond just getting high. I mean, Strainprint has been a great education tool to show people that there's another aspect to it in terms of the therapy, right?
Absolutely. I mean, most of the folks using our technology we call them mindfully medicated. I mean, they're of all age groups, but we're really not interested in tapping into folks that just want to get high and really high, because, again, that wouldn't classify as... There's a place for that. There's a place for that. What we're more interested in is, again, the health and wellness aspect. How are you integrating it into your life? And we're starting to evolve that as well. Just yesterday, actually, we put out a new video with a physician out of London, Ontario, Dr. Mike Hart, who's also huge into fitness, huge into kind of the UFC world. And he's a great example of a doctor, someone who uses cannabis and integrates it into his fitness routine, is in excellent shape. And again, just shining a light on those stories, breaking the stigma and saying, it's not about the couch lock stoner anymore. Well, it really isn't. And
again, that is the key, because even people like us at our age, we used it. We're around people that have used it. But there's a lot of people out there that it's been way over there forever.
There's lots of folks that are just using it now that it's legal. They're just saying, hey, I'm comfortable now with this, to look at it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and yeah, I mean, we're all saying kind of the same thing, which is, this stigma was around something that was illegal, even though, I say it in quotations. But even someone like myself that has been using it off and on my whole life, the way I've used it since I've become more educated is different. Whether it's Strainprint or availing yourself of CBD as an anti-inflammatory. And those are the stories I think the growthop.com can bring to people, because, even, as you said, Freddie, we know a lot of guys and gals that have been smoking it their whole lives, but they may not consider CBD as an insomnia cure.
Yep.
They may not know that there are strains that, if you have tendinitis, you might find somebody that's had a great effect with a strain of marijuana you didn't even know about.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about things like, interactions with your medications, because as you get older, you're going to have medications. It's part of the aging process,
That's all
right?
we do.
And there's still, we're still trying to understand fully what are the interactions, what are the health concerns if you're going to use this. And that's why we like stuff like Strainprint. We really want people to understand the tools available to them so that they can participate in their health management, right, when they're using cannabis. It's really important that they understand how it all works together.
People just have to give it a chance. I mean, they do.
I mean, you may not get, like, your in-laws' age, the people that are in their late 70s and 80s, maybe they're not going to come around, although it would be great benefit for them. But the boomers, for sure. There's going to be a whole bunch of 60-plus-year-olds spending the rest of their lives, hopefully, decreasing the dependency on opioids and pharmaceutical interaction, and go for something like Strainprint and see what's out there.
Well, actually, and so it's happening now a little bit too with even the older population that is in elder care. So again, shining a light on another physician who happened to be in Southwest Ontario in Sarnia, we did another video with Dr. Blake Pearson, and he has so many case studies where he is actually taking folks in the elder care facilities, which he's in charge of out there, right off of opioids and right off of polypharmacy. He's had so many case studies, and I get really excited about it, as you can tell. I'm passionate about that because we have a crisis.
Yeah.
And here is something that's a possible solution and a possible option. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And with the case studies and with data like ours and with the research, that trifecta, that's how we're going to evolve, and that's how we're going to push this forward.
Well, you'll know when you're getting somewhere when Big Pharma starts taking over the cannabis industry.
Yeah, they already have it.
Yeah, and that's coming.
They're there in the background, guys, for sure.
Megan Henderson, executive producer for thegrowthop.com. We want everyone to know, and we've been talking about whether it's through our association with Corey at Rainmaker or Jessica at Strainprint, and now Megan, O'Cannabiz, which I've actually gotten to go to. Very interesting. Starts today, International Center, Hall 5 in Toronto. And if you're new, this is a great sort of primer. I remember walking around with a little bit, you and I walked around last year, and it's just fascinating. I came back and told Freddie that, I'd sort of seen a little bit into the future. And when you go to O'Cannabiz, you see people setting up mock dispensaries, or everything from that to ways to use the plant that you never thought possible And it really is a great education for a lot of folks.
Yeah, so Megan and myself are both speaking today on a panel. Megan's actually speaking on 3 panels because she's amazing.
Oh, Megan.
I wouldn't go that
Megan.
far.
You're such a 3-paneler.
We used to speak on panels.
We are at booth 7-Eleven, so I will plug that. You can't forget it, 7-Eleven. So
7-Eleven.
come see us at booth 7-Eleven, the Strainprint team. We have treats. Come get some treats. And
Yeah, now you can. Now, because last year we couldn't do the treats, except on the down low. But this year it's all treats all the time.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting
Megan,
time.
I have an email here from someone that says, listen, sometimes I get high and I Uber Eat 7-Eleven chicken to my home. Is that a problem? Asking for a friend.
I mean, I suffer from this problem as well. I think everybody does. Go with a high CBD strain if you don't want the munchies, folks.
Well, yeah, that's it. Because that's the problem with the munchies. It's just like I've got the munchies and I'm lazy, so I'm like, Uber Eats, could you bring me some 7-Eleven chicken? Is that weird?
I mean, 7-Eleven chicken might be weird. You might suffer for that choice, but
Megan,
that's your choice.
Don't judge me. I mean, the person.
You put Tostitos in a wine glass.
I do. Hey, Megan Henderson, everyone go to check out thegrowthop.com, the new post-media editorial brand. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a story on this program. You never know, because we are the leading cannabis morning show in Canada. Full stop.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I can't make any promises, but I will try.
That's all we can ask.
We're cannabis friendly.
We love 420 friendly.
We are beyond 420. All right, our actual ages combined are 420.
Old guys.
Old people got no reason. Anyway, Megan, have a great time. 3 paneling at O'Cannabis today. You young human, such a good person. I so enjoy our little interactions. Jessica Moran from Strainprint, and congratulations on you guys coming in here. You killed it. I mean, it was awesome.
The only thing we were missing was like a puff puff pass.
What's
segment.
that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
What's
You
a
know?
puff pass? What's that?
Puff, puff. We get high.
Puff, puff.
And pass.
See?
This could be like the Joe Rogan show, right? Like,
If it were like the Joe Rogan show, that would be cool. You got lots of listeners.
That's a term, a puff, puff, pass.
Yes.
See, I'm on the outside.
I have a few pens upstairs that we can pass around.
that's the polite etiquette way of smoking a joint in a group. You've got to puff, puff, and then pass. You don't want to bogart.
Bogart.
Yeah.
You have to,
You don't
it's
wanna
funny because
bogart.
we're 100 years older than you are, but that's a phrase, by the way. Bogarting the joint.
The
It's been
song,
around.
remember?
Yeah.
Don't bogart.
But it's been around since we were kids.
Yeah.
And we were hippies.
Who was that?
We performed at Woodstock.
I love it.
Yeah.
Who did that song?
I
Don't
don't
bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me.
Ira
Great
Biggin, one of those guys. Maybe.
Maybe.
Hey,
I'm sure
listen.
you'll come up with it.
I don't have it now. I got to go to break.
You will at some point.
I won't. Jessica, nice seeing you again.
You too.
Megan, sorry for all the yelling.
It's all good. I enjoyed myself. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
90% yelling, 10%.
All right. 90% crows eating skunks, 10% roadkill stories. Okay? Happy? You win. All right. See? Yelling.